guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Chic from Happiness and Crafting. So I am supposed to be taking it easy, but you know what it's like when you're supposed to be taking it easy, you tend to do sort of like more little bits and pieces. But today I have been making some lovely little flowers. Now these are made from some little bits of this broderie anglaise, I don't know what you call it, trim, and I think they're a little bit too white. They're a little bit too white for what I would use, because most of my stuff is sort of pinky and stuff and shabby. So I thought I'd give it a go at colouring them. So I've got those, and then because I thought I was going to do those, I grabbed some seam binding. I grabbed a little bit of, I got two different cheesecloths. This is very, very sort of open weaved, and this is sort of like very tight weaved. Now this is folded, but if I unfold it, it's going to be really sort of like delicate, so I'm going to leave it folded. Can you see? It sort of tends to fall apart, so I'm going to leave it like that and then pull it apart when it's dry. And then I've got a little bit of fabric here. I got some little bits and pieces. I've got this, so if you were a pink butterfly, my lovely pink butterflies, you would have seen all these lovely bits of lace that I had at the weekend. I gave you a little peek in my room where I keep all my lace at the weekend. So if you saw that, you would have seen some of these bits of lace. Now I've got these as well, so not quite sure whether I'm going to do it all, but I do want to do these flowers to start with. So I'm going to pop this to the side. I just grab these just in case. So I'm going to do all of this, and then I will dry them, and then I will come back to show you at the end. And what I've got a little pot. So this is just a little pot that I can just pop everything in and colour it. And then I've got a little tray here, which I'm going to just pop everything into afterwards for a minute. So I'm going to pull my sleeves up. I've got my gloves because I don't want to get all covered in ink, really. So these are just some, these are the ones that I use for my resin, but you can use any sort of gloves. Just pop a little pair of rubber gloves on. If you're going to colour, it's so much easier just to have a pair of little plastic gloves on. These are nitrile gloves, so these are quite good gloves, because obviously I do lots of resin work, and you know, you need proper gloves so you don't get that nasty resin on your hands. But that's another story, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to think first. I'm going to put these in here, and I'm going to wet them. So this is just water in here. This is just like a hair bottle that I kept, and just filled it with water. So let's just pop all those in there. The thing is about wearing gloves as well, you can just scrunch everything up, can't you? Which is quite nice. You can do this in a little bag. So if you have a little plastic bag, you can do the same sort of thing. So they should be quite wet. Now I want them all scrunched up anyway, so I'm going to just pop them in there for a second. I'm just going to add a little bit more water in here. Now I want these to be a very pale pink, but I'm so heavy-handed with colour that they probably won't end up like that, but you can sort of like wash them out. Now I've got the muted pink. This is Liquitex acrylic ink, and I love this stuff. It's so good for colouring. I'll pop links down to this as well so you can take a little peek. This is muted violet, and I got muted pink, and then I also have these, which are the distress sprays. Now these ones, this is Worn Lipstick. I've got the Kitsch Flamingo, and I've also got the tea dye. This I thought I might put in to dull down the colour if it's too bright, but the oxide inks tend to make it look a little bit more duller, if you know what I mean. So they look a little bit more, you know, not, especially on the seam binding, they're a bit more muted. So I just want a tiny bit. I think that might be a little bit too stingy on that one, but I can always add a little bit more water in there. Can you see? So it's just a tiny bit. I get asked a lot about colouring fabrics and things like that. So that's what I thought I'd just pop in. I was going to do this anyway because we got a beautiful sunny day outside, and they will just sit in the garden and have a little dry out like that. So there we go, some little pink ones. Look at that. I think they're a bit too pink. I want them a little bit more. So this is where I go in with the Distress inks. So I'm going to just give that a shake. I'm just going to tip some in. I like experimenting. I'm quite happy to just pop in any old colours in here and mix them up. If it's no good, I'll add something else and we get something else. But I really don't mind experimenting with the colour. There we go, that's a bit more like it, but then again that's a little bit orange, so I'm not quite sure whether I quite like that one. So let's try again. Let's try again. I'm going to add a little bit more purple. This is the darker one. So the one I did before was the pink, the muted pink, and this is the muted violet. So this is going to be a little bit more darker. So let's just do that. And you know, I haven't got any tissue with me. Oh, this is looking a little bit better. This is looking like a little sort of the shabby dirty pink that you get, that we like. Oh, that I like. Look at that. That's lovely. Oh, I like those. That one looks a bit pink. Let's go back in there again. This is the sort of grungy sort of pink that I'm after, because I don't like the bright pink colours. Right, I'm just going to put that there. Let's just open these out. Look at that. That's lovely. This is the colour I'm after, and each one will be sort of slightly different. Just open those out, and then I can just pop these in the garden. Look at that. Oh, I like that colour. That's why I got the rest of the sort of fabricy bits and stuff, because once you've got a nice colour, it's quite nice to have a few bits in the same sort of colour. Now, I can make this, you know, obviously add a bit more inks and stuff to these to make it sort of like darker, or add a little bit of water to make it a little bit lighter. But these are so pretty. And as they dry, they do tend to sort of have the little bits get a little bit darker here and there. So whether that will happen with these, I don't know. There we go. But these are lovely. So I'm just sort of opening them out just a little bit, like that. There we go. So guys, have you had a lovely weekend? Did you get much done? I try to sort of have a little rest, and I'm just fiddle. I just can't keep still. Always feel like I need to sort of make something or do something. But I think that's my way of sort of relaxing anyway. So let's see. Let's put those to the side. They're quite nice, aren't they? Now, I'm going to do this, which is the seam binding. Now, I've got colour on my hands, but before I do that, I'm actually going to wet it, because wetting it helps to absorb the colour a lot better. So let's just wrinkle that up. Do you know what I mean? Sort of helps it suck in all of that colour. So let's just pop that in there. Oh, I'm loving this colour. Oh, it's a fabulous colour. Oh, it's a really lovely colour. Look at that. That's lovely, isn't it? Right, that's just going to sit in here. That's just going to sit there like that. It will probably go a little bit lighter. Probably won't stay that colour. Hang on, I'm just going to get a wet wipe. Gosh, I'm so messy. Let's just wipe this off. Do you know, I should have put something down on my table, but I didn't. I just make nice mess. Right, the other thing I was going to do, I might actually do my cheesecloth first. Oh, I should have wetted it. Oh dear. It's going to suck up all of that colour now, because I didn't wet it. Let's squeeze that. Look at this. So these are two, and different materials. Look at that, that's already different materials obviously take the colour differently. So that's just soaked that up beautifully. Look at that. Now I'm going to have to make some more. I'm going to sort of put that on there. Let's just clean this mess as we go. Oh, that means we have to make a little bit more. So it will be a slightly different colour. Now if you wanted the same colour, I would sort of like measure it a bit, but I like things to be different. You don't want things exactly the same, do you? I'm going to just squeeze that. Rub it around. Look at that. That's beautiful. That's a really sort of dusky pink, isn't it? They call it sort of dirty pink, this sort of darker pink, which is lovely. We like that. We do like that. Now I'm going to make up a little bit more. Let's put a little bit of water in there. Like that. Kind of liked this dark one in there. Okay, let's put that in. I'm going to put a little bit of this one in. Let's just have a little squidge of them all. A little bit of this, which is the tea dye. I do love these oxide sprays as well. They are great. Let's have a little swish around. That's a pretty good colour, isn't it? Pretty much the same. Do you know what I'm going to actually do? Just to change the colour slightly, I'm going to add this, the Kitsch Flamingo. Just a tiny bit. It won't be that bright, but it might just sort of give it a little bit of a different colour. I'm going to add this one in, but do you know what I'm going to do first? Actually, I'm going to go and wet these in the sink. So let's just see what I can do. I'm not going to do much more. I'm going to go in with this one, and this one, and maybe this one. This is a bit synthetic, so this is elasticated, so let's see what that comes out with. I won't do those ones because they're a bit too big and thick, but I'm just going to go quickly and just wet these in the sink. Okay, perfect. So these are all nice and wet. I'm going to put this one in. Now this is the middle of the outside, I mean, of like a doily or something. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And let's just see. Oh wow, that's come out very dark. Let's squeeze some of that out like that. I've got quite a few of these, so this is why I was trying to test it to see how well it would take the colour. That's pretty good, isn't it? I'm going to just squeeze that a bit more so it all goes into those little nooks and crannies in there. Like that. Loving it, loving it. Let's just stretch that out a little bit. Oh, I'm loving this. I do like to colour that. Now this looks quite orangey compared. I'm going to pop this in here again. There we go. Let's get that a little bit darker. I quite like this darker one. Let's see, that's changed a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Lovely. Right, let's try this one. This is a synthetic-y lacy bit that I've got. Just see how that takes the colour. Beautiful, look at that. That's so lovely. Little bundle. See how you can see the colour changes in these. And this is, what's this? This is just a piece of fabric, which is very pretty. Cotton. This is just cotton fabric. Got a few marks on this one, so that'd be quite nice just to colour it. That's come out really nice. Now if I dried that in the sun and I scrunched it up and just left it out like that, I would get ridges in there of different colour. It would sort of like be different colours in it. So if I pulled it flat, it should dry sort of one colour. So we shall see. I will pop that in there, and then we've got this lovely piece of lace. I might be able to colour actually a bit more and use up what's in here. We shall see. Let's just pop that in. See, that's quite pink, isn't it? This is just off a top. This is just leftover bits of fabric. But I'm going to change it. I want it a little bit browner. I'm going to get a little bit of brown ink. Now this is burnt umber. It says transparent burnt umber. So I'm just going to darken this up just a tiny bit. 2 little drops, that's all. Just see if that will take that sort of pink off it. Just make it a little bit more of a dirty pink, because that was so white. I think it sort of made it look a little bit too pink. Let's have a look, if you know what I mean. That's a little bit better. Look at that. It's taken that sort of pink off it. It's because I added in the pink into it, that's why. Gosh, I make a mess. Right, we've got all that in there, so let's add this. This is synthetic as well, I think, because it looks pretty shiny. I'm going to put it in there. I haven't wetted? I haven't wet this one. So let's just add a little bit more water in there. See if we can scrunch this up so it all takes that ink in there. Look, we've got wet, dry there. It's dry and white. We don't want that, do we? So let's sort of squeeze this together. And it should take the colour, hopefully. There we go. Lovely. See, all these colours are what I use. I use the pinkies and stuff, don't I? So that's kind of nice, isn't it? Oops, gosh, well, I put my lids on, because I do tend to knock things over. Okay, lovely. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm loving this colour. That's quite pink. But these are all lovely. I'm going to go and put these out. I do like how this came out. This is cotton, so it's taken that really, really well, hasn't it? So I'm going to go and pop these outside to dry, to hang up. And then I will be back and I will show you what they all look like. So 2 seconds for you. Okay guys, so these are not quite dry. They're still a little bit wet, so I did want to sort of like make something with them, but it's a bit late now, and they're not really sort of dry properly. I'd like to wait for them to be dry. This is dry. This is just beautiful. Look at that. It's just lovely, isn't it? Flowers are still a little bit wet, so but the colours are just beautiful. I love them. This, I think, because they're a little bit thicker, they're taking a little bit longer to dry. I was just sort of pushing it a little bit to try and make them dry, but they're not going to. But I just adore the colours. They are just lovely. Look at that. So can you see where, you know, it's just sort of like a little bit mottled in colour, but how beautiful is it? I just think they are lovely. So happy with those. So I will keep those. I'm gonna have to take those back downstairs and hang them on my little rack to dry a little bit longer. But what I was thinking as I was waiting for that, oh, little random flowers, to do that, I was having a little play and I've made a little pocket. Now, as you know, I've got lots and lots of beautiful vintage lace. And I did do a pink butterfly video for my lovely YouTube members on showing you lots of my lace and a little bit of my craft room at the weekend. And this was in the new box that I bought, and it's just gorgeous. It's very, very tatty. It's very, very tatty, so I don't mind cutting it up because it's all sort of like half cut up in bits anyway. So I thought I'd have a little play, and I've made a little pocket by just hand sewing it. And at the moment, because, you know, I'm just not really want to do, you know, major things. I want to do a little bit of relaxing things, so a little bit of hand stitching and stuff is really, really nice. So this is just a little laid up pocket, which I will sew onto a journal. Now, as I was doing this, what I'm like, I work and then I figure out what I would like to do. So just having a little play around. I think I might try and do like a little fabric-y journal. So maybe some fabric pockets, not fabric pockets, fabric sort of pages. So I can sort of like sew some little bits in. And the other thing I was thinking, as I was doing that, I have got my lovely butterflies, and I'm going to try and print on some fabric. So I'm going to give that a go tomorrow, and I'm just thinking these butterflies would be beautiful, wouldn't they, if they were sort of like fabric and I could sort of like sew them into the journal, onto pockets, and even on, look at these, this would make beautiful. These colours will go lovely, and I just think they would look lovely sewn on. And also, these are the ones that I did, I put those little flowers on those. I also have my flowers, my roses and things like that, which I might try as well, and sew on, not sew on, print on fabric. Do you know what I mean? Because these are going to look beautiful, aren't they? I think it's sort of like almost like a little applique-y things, because these colours would go really nicely. So that's my plan. And also look out, because I have got some dragonflies like these. I think they should be ready tomorrow or Wednesday. I will let you know, but we have got dragonflies coming, and you know how hard it is to get dragonflies. I just love dragonflies and butterflies, but these as little thingies, so I'm going to try and do that. I will do that as well, but love this, and then I can make some little pockets and bits and pieces. And these little flowers, the colour of these, they just go with a vintage sort of style, don't they? So a little lovely little flower on there, nice and scruffy, maybe a couple of little sort of pearls on it as well, to make it look really lovely. So that's my plan, I think, for this week. I think I'm going to just have a few little attempts at making a little fabric journal. But lovely. And I also, over the weekend, I organised these a little bit more, because these have got some tiny little thin vintage lace on there, and I just think it's so lovely. I just want to sort of like make sure it's not scrunched up somewhere. But there we go, guys. So we did a little bit of colouring today. It's super simple. Colour wise, you can use all sorts of things. I used a little bit of the Distress Oxide, this one, which is lovely, and then we added a little bit of the transparent burnt umber, and then these two as well, which was the muted violet and the muted pink. So those I'm going to, I'll link everything down under the video anyway, which I love. And I think this tea dye comes out quite orange. I think it's sort of like a real got an orange base, so it's not quite tea dye, I don't think. Although I did add pink to this, but it does come out quite orangey colour. But loving it. So that's my plan. That's my plan, guys. So I will have a go at doing some fabric on those, and I'll let you know tomorrow what they come out like. So there we go. So there we go, guys. Have a lovely evening. I'm going to go and have a rest now, and edit this video. So I will see you tomorrow. Take care, stay safe, and have a lovely evening. All right, guys. Bye-bye.